dance in a smile. Love and compassion hand in hand. Forgiveness helps us understand. Infinite threads weaving hearts together, even miles apart. Through the laughter, through the tears, we find strength to face our fears. Infinite threads weaving hearts together, even miles apart. Through the laughter, through the tears, we find strength to face our fears.
Welcome back to Infinite Threads, where we explore love, connection, and the deeper truths that unite us. I'm Bob, and today we're talking about something that affects all of us: fear of the unknown. When uncertainty looms, it's easy to assume the worst. But what if that fear is actually leading us away from love, from truth, and from each other? What if, in our panic, we create the very disaster we're trying to avoid? It's a lesson we've seen in history, in stories, and maybe even in our own lives. Today, let's rethink fear before it leads us down a path we can't undo. In 1960, the Twilight Zone aired an episode called "The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street." It starts in an ordinary suburban neighborhood. Everything is peaceful until strange things start happening. Lights flicker, cars stop working, and no one knows why. Suspicion creeps in. Someone suggests aliens could be among them. And suddenly, neighbors who once trusted each other turn paranoid. They accuse, they lash out, and in their fear, they destroy themselves. The twist? Wait for this twist. There were aliens, but they never had to attack. They just watched as the people tore themselves apart. Fear was the only weapon needed. Now that's fiction, but how often do we do the same thing in real life? How often do we let fear of something that hasn't even happened make us act irrationally? How often do we assume the worst, and in doing so, bring about the very chaos we feared? Fear is natural. It's hardwired into us to help us survive. But what happens when that survival instinct runs unchecked? Instead of preparing us, it paralyzes us. It makes us suspicious of our neighbors. It tells us to close ourselves off, to assume the worst in others, to expect disaster even when nothing has actually happened. But what if we flip that? Instead of assuming the worst, what if we trained ourselves to assume the best? Imagine waking up every day expecting good things instead of doom. Imagine facing the unknown with curiosity instead of panic. Imagine seeing change not as a threat, but as an opportunity for something better. Now, that's not always the case, of course. I mean, in life, there are going to be people that do bad things. We live under very difficult times right now. And that doesn't mean you have to agree with all those things. I'm talking about fear when fear is not really justified. When you're afraid of something you can't even name. This is where love comes in. Love doesn't mean ignoring dangers, but it does mean responding with trust rather than suspicion, with hope rather than dread. Love means recognizing that even in uncertain times, we are not alone. We are part of something bigger, something connected. So how do we avoid our own Maple Street moment? How do we keep fear from making us turn on each other? You know, this comes up all the time with immigration. Why are we so scared of other people? We say, oh, well, there's some bad people that might come in. Well, there's bad people here, and they're not all bad people that come in. We can't live like that, or you're having your own Maple Street like we're talking about. When fear rises, take a breath. Ask yourself, is this real, or is this my mind running ahead of reality? Most fears never come true. Seek understanding instead of assuming the worst in people. Try listening. The more we understand each other, the less room fear has to grow. Shift your perspective. Instead of, what if this goes wrong? Ask, what if this goes right? Love allows for possibilities that fear never does. Connect. Don't isolate. Fear tells us to retreat, but love tells us to reach out. When we stay connected, we remind ourselves that we are never facing the unknown alone. Fear thrives in darkness, but love brings things into the light. We don't have to let fear rule us. We don't have to create our own destruction just because the future is uncertain. If we meet the unknown with love instead of suspicion, we just might find that the future is brighter than we ever imagined. Until next time, guys, remember, love connects us all, and together we are stronger than any fear. We're stronger than anything that anyone has to throw at us. We can beat all of these problems that we're facing these days with love. I love you all very, very, very much, and I say that all the time, every day, and I mean it. You know what I need you to do, guys? Go pass that on. All right, later, Gators.
Every story, every voice, in this love we all rejoice. Infinite threads, here we go. Welcome friends, enjoy the show. Every story, every voice, in this love we all rejoice. Infinite threads, here we go. Welcome friends, enjoy the show.